But you never know that you could. And when you feel that way, ain't it good, good dancing in the red and gold. Dancing in the red and gold.
What's up, Faithful? Welcome to the 49er Faithful UK Live. As always, I'm your host, Paul Hope, and happy NFL schedule release day. However, chaps, it's finally official. As expected, no international game in 2025 for our 49ers. This year's London games were confirmed yesterday on Good Morning Football or on the UK Facebook page, whichever one you were tuned into. And it is the Vikings and not the 49ers that will be heading over to take on the Cleveland Browns at Tottenham. However, the Niners will still travel 28,363 miles during the upcoming NFL season and still the fifth most of any team. The Niners also have a bold new look, chaps. We have some roster changes and the 49ers agreeing a new contract with a quarterback. But before we get into all that, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and drop a UK 49ers into the chat so we all know that you're here. And for those of you that are listening and not watching, I am, of course, joined by Gareth Ellis.
Hello. Good evening.
Naji Kara.
Hello, everyone.
And he might not have a voice, but Lee Gowland has joined us, everybody.
Hello, everyone. It's actually not too bad. It has improved over the day. I certainly had no voice left last night, though.
I wonder why. What happened? What's going on?
I just felt like screaming at people, Najee. It was just like an outlet.
I get
That's
that a
what
lot.
happens when you get old. Yeah.
We can confirm.
Actually, what I was doing, I was walking down the street screaming, "I'm the grand champion! I'm the grand champion!"
I just found a way to put it in there again. This is going to be a long season. This is going to be a very long season.
Yeah, you missed out last week, Gareth. Lee did
I
obviously
did.
remind everybody that he was
I
the
heard
grand
that bit.
champion. So,
People don't need reminding. They know who the grand champion is.
fine. So for those people that might be oblivious, Lee wasn't screaming at the DMs asking where the watch party is. We've had several locations given to us. It was, in fact, Lee, you were watching Sunderland. And obviously we congratulated Liverpool last week. Congratulations go to you and Sunderland for making the playoffs.
Indeed. Congrats.
Playoff final.
I don't know what any of it means, but congrats.
It's a day out at Wembley.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it's a really expensive weekend where we come home really disappointed.
Well, to be fair, since the Niners are not going to go to either Wembley or Tottenham, then you save money there to go do that. So there you go.
Well, yeah, you make a good point.
So, as I said, chaps, the international games in Dublin, London, Germany, and Spain have been confirmed. And whilst the Niners don't have an international game, do any of the games that were announced yesterday catch your fancy? Are you going to catch a game in any of those locations? I'll go over to you first, Gareth.
No, I'll catch those games at a suitable time on the sofa on a Sunday afternoon, because I think other than the Sao Paulo game, they will be all on a reasonable time, won't they? They'll be Sunday afternoon, rainy weather. So yeah, I'll get those. Very pleased to see the Rams have got a long trip. That's good for them in the middle of the season. Great. So I'm quite pleased at that. They're not that inspiring matchups, but you never. I think at some point one of these games is going to surprise us, and that suddenly there's just going to be a cracking game in London. Fingers crossed.
I mean, you referenced the Rams coming across, so they'll be travelling over for the Sunday, the 19th of October. They're actually playing at Wembley, so they're playing the Jags. What did you make, chaps, of the fact that the Jags have only got one London game this year? Sign of times to come, because a lot of people thought the Jaguars might eventually move over here, but the fact that they've only got one game this year, Najee, do you think I'm reading too much into it on NFL schedule release day?
Yeah, it's always a long shot having a team moving to London permanent basis. I think the fact that they're going to Germany and Spain and Brazil and Mexico, it's just kind of like, we can't have an extra game as well in London. There would be 4 games in London. I don't know. I think it's probably fair. It's also fair to the Jacksonville people, the people that want to watch games, watch their team in their stadium. It makes sense. I think not to have 2 games if they're going to expand to Spain, and they're probably going to keep expanding. That's what I'm thinking. They might even, like have 1 game a week abroad or something. So
Well, it's Australia 26,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, they're
Rams.
going to keep. They're bound to do a game in Tokyo at some point or whatever. They're trying to go global, and I probably Dubai is going to have a game at some point. It's just one of those things that you can't just ask the same team to go over 2 or 3 times, and it's also not fair because they're there for 2 or 3 weeks, so they have chance to acclimate from jet lag and all that, and then the team that's coming it's a bit of a disadvantage, isn't it? And so no, not surprised.
I mean, I forgot about that, Gareth. So the Rams are playing in London this year, and then they've got Australia next year because that's already been confirmed. And you talk about coming across, Najee, for the first time in NFL history, the Vikings will have back-to-back international games. So they kick us off on the 25th of September when they head over to Dublin. So Ireland have got their first game.
Oh, yeah,
I just wanted to
Yeah.
say congratulations to Michael McQuaid and the Irish lads for putting all the work in off the field, and seeing Michael on Pat McAfee and all the announcements yesterday was pretty amazing. But I kind of had a suspicion, Lee, it was going to be this game. Obviously, the Vikings, close links to... Is your brother going over to Ireland and then going to London, or has he not got a pass out for both?
Yes, I mean, he's going to have a look, see if he can get any tickets for that. And the good thing about that was the very first game he did see was Vikings versus Steelers. And that's why he became a Vikings fan. It was a Steelers home game, so he decided to go, not with the underdog, but for the team that was less well supported that weekend. And that's how he became a Vikings fan. And that was 12 years ago, so it was 2013, that one.
Right. So, I mean, what do we make of the fact that the Vikings are playing back-to-back international games? I mean, again, am I reading too much into that? Because obviously they've made a big hype on social media. It's the first time that they've done it.
I think there's a lot of negotiation with these things. I think maybe it's like, we'll do that with our new quarterback, but we don't want to do one in the next 2 years, perhaps. I'm sure a lot of these discussions go on in the background, don't they? So
also, I would imagine
maybe just you're stuck with it.
Possibly. Yeah, I would imagine the Vikings actually had a choice with this one, where generally the road team it's picked by the home team, the team that's given up their home game, because obviously they don't want a team that's going to bring a whole load of fans. So I would imagine once the Steelers game was set, the second game, I think the Vikings will have had some sort of choice about it, or some sort of say in that. As far as reading too much into it, I just think it's just double away games. That's all.
Yeah, they're not losing. They're not losing anything. Martin's there finally.
Yeah, that's it.
They still have their 8 or 9 games at home plus 2 games abroad. Like they probably get paid quite a bit for it, I would imagine.
So Najee, Martin isn't only here. I believe he's watching on the big telly on YouTube, and he's using his phone to comment. So if those who know Martin, well done, buddy. I know you said you might not join us in the comments, but he's here. I mean, to be fair, I'm just thinking the fact that they're going to be 2 weeks running, obviously Dublin to Highland, the distance isn't as far as coming across from the States. And I've just seen a few of the other NFC North fans wondering if this is going to be the way, because the bye week is the one that we're all waiting for with a scheduled release. And the fact that they're going to be, away for 2 weeks, there's a lot of talk. Did they get the bye week early? Did they get it later on? I mean, what do we reckon? Do we reckon they'll get the bye week after these 2 weeks?
I think they usually tend to have it after.
Yeah. And in many respects, if they're travelling over to Ireland for the one game, then you stay. Perhaps you just stay in Ireland, maybe only come over to London for 1 or 2 days before the game. Have it as that settled as we've done that those away trips and stayed in Ohio or wherever it is, where we've set up a kind of mini camp for back-to-back away games, and use it as team building and all that sort of stuff. So maybe the Vikings have said, let's do that.
So that one was the one that we all had circled on our calendar. Michael, I did try to tell you, buddy, that Matt Miyoko said it wasn't happening. Even as far as 11 o'clock yesterday, he still had his fingers crossed that it was going to be the Niners coming over. But we'd had some messages from people who were a lot more connected than me to to say it definitely wasn't happening. And it's rumoured to be Mexico next year, Gareth, that we've talked about last week, that the Niners aren't in London this year. It's looking like Mexico next year, which makes sense. You know, obviously, all of us are disappointed that the Niners aren't here, but it makes sense, doesn't it, Najee, from a team point of view? The team already travelling, you know, nearly 30,000 miles this season.
Yeah.
They didn't want to then add the journey to London on top of that.
Yeah, the only weird thing is that obviously they haven't been here since 2013, which is 12 years now. You'd think, especially with the increased number of games, the chance of them being here is greater. But it also does make sense that they're not coming here, since they're one of the team that travels the most, considering where we are. But you say disappointed. I'm actually not. I would 100% rather see them in San Francisco than in London. And
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
price wise, it's really not that far off if you
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
about it.
It's not.
Also, and this is something we've been, quietly thinking about behind the scene. It's kind of a relief for us as admin of the group, because if and when they come over, it's going to be a lot of work for us four to start with, because hopefully
Yeah.
we'll get some press pass and we'll have some work to do. But also the number of messages and people are going to ask for tickets or information about things that we don't actually have control over is going to be a lot of work. So kind of relieved a little bit. And also, I mean, I've said it a million times, I don't actually enjoy the international game. I think it's a bit of a wash. I went to see, what was it last year? Jags Falcons last year, because I heard that tickets were on sale really cheap. So I went on a whim and I got some really, really cheap tickets. So I just went down to London for the day with my daughter to just watch a game, there and back driving. And it's just not very good compared to anything in the States. It doesn't come
Yeah.
anywhere near.
The atmosphere is very flat, isn't it?
Yeah,
The
it
London
really
games,
is.
and they were showing up that game in Berlin or Frankfurt or where it was, the first game in Germany. I think they really showed up the London fans.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
also
I was just about to say, I don't want to cast aspersions, but the London games are full of too many Brits.
well, I agree, but also
That's the
Not
problem.
fans. I think, yeah.
it was the first in Germany. Let's see in
Yeah.
5-10 years if it's not the same in Germany. I think they were very excited to have an NFL game and they showed it. But I think it's going to gradually go down with people just getting used to it. And it's just kind of fair weather fun. There's fans of every team, obviously, because the NFL is there. It's NFL fans, really. So it just makes it for less. Yeah, Richard is right. It's just too many neutrals, too many fans of other team, which is completely understandable. I completely get it. And also, the price has just gone completely ridiculous now, and it's very difficult to get a ticket. So yeah, I'm kind of relieved.
To be fair, Najee, I had that conversation at work today about you doing that last year. The only way I'm going down to London is similar to you, if I can get a ticket really cheap, close to it, there and back. But when I said disappointed, you've obviously got a better poker face than me. I was excited for the likes of Brad Graham, John Chapman, Damon Bruce, Larry Kruger. They were all excited to come over and party with the UK faithful. They've mentioned us on their shows since the news broke. But you're right, Najee. I kind of last night said to Tracy, if the Niners do come to London, the work behind the scenes for us.
Yeah.
And I saw the UK Jets group had took a leaf out of Lee's book. So I did like that message you'd shared yesterday, Lee, when you said, if it's happening, please don't ask us for tickets. Please don't send us. Now, to be fair, I liked what you tried to do, but it's safe to say it didn't work, because all that meant was people were messaging me yesterday saying, do you know something? You've been saying that the Niners are not coming. And I was like,
Yeah,
I was like,
so
no, seriously, it's not happening.
I soon discovered that kind of backfired a little bit. I should have started off by saying, I know nothing. I know absolutely nothing. But just in case it happens, don't do this. But yeah, I got a similar thing as well, Paul. And as soon as the first one came in, I was like, oh God, yeah, this is just going to really backfire.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, it does lead us into the rabbit hole of the schedule. So we might not be coming across to London, but we do have a few games that could be 6 p.m. UK kickoff times.
Yeah,
And as
that's
soon as you see them circle chaps, you think
Yeah.
UK watch party, which has been the buzzword in Discord today. There's been various locations around the country where people would like this watch party to happen. We talked about it a little bit last week, Gareth. But Lee, there is some 6 o'clock games on there that look very exciting.
There's so there's 4 guaranteed 6 o'clock games, and there's 2 others that could be moved to 6 o'clock depending on what the rest of the schedule looks like on those weekends.
How are you saying they're guaranteed 6 o'clock?
Well, actually, no, they're not guaranteed 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
You're right. So we've got
They're likely.
4 traditional East Coast teams that are likely to be 6 o'clock, and then 2 who are only 1 hour difference out of the East Coast time, the Colts and the Saints, who are sometimes playing their home games at 6 o'clock on Sunday. But that all depends on how many teams line up for a 6 o'clock game on the Sunday.
That's right. Yeah.
Because 12 o'clock games are quite common in college football on a Saturday, and they kind of do that to the NFL as well, depending on how the schedule rolls out.
So the reason I mention that is over the last few years, chaps, we've been used to a lot of prime time games, which for the UK faithful is a 1:15 a.m. start. But it's quite possible that the Niners might only receive 3 or 4 prime time games this year. Now, we did talk last week, Gareth. It is, but
that's still four nights, 4 in the middle of the night games, Paul.
I know, but
we're going to get 3 because everyone gets a Thursday, a Monday, and a Sunday night. Surely,
Yeah.
I don't think it.
Yeah.
Basically, everybody gets one of those 3, don't they? So,
I mean, I think, you're right. The NFC West opponents like the Rams and the Seahawks will be prime time, and I'd be stunned if both didn't face. I could see us possibly playing the Bears, dependent on. We talked last week about the fact that they can flex certain games, but what I meant is, obviously, we've got what's classed as the easiest schedule. When they're putting the schedule together for TV, they tend not to feature a lot of those games that they feel are going to be a blowout or they're not going to attract a big audience. So yes, Lee, 3 or 4 primetime games is still a lot. But I seem to think like last year we were sat here thinking, crikey, we had the maximum. And I think we only had 2 6 o'clock games last year.
Games, so,
Yeah.
So the fact that we've got possibly 4 already has definitely got us excited. Now, apparently, Lee, the Giants... Week 9, that could be.
Yeah, gutted about that. I was so desperate for that to be a Thursday night game, because if
why
it was
is
a Thursday night game, it doesn't really matter who the 2 previous Sunday games were. I was going to go to that. I was going to try and get that window of opportunity there to get in 3 games and finish off in New York, where it's only, I think, 7 or 8 hour journey to London Heathrow. So a bit shorter than obviously being over in San Francisco. But, I mean, I'm going to wait and see who comes up with week 8 and week 10, because I'd still like to do New York. I'd rather do San Francisco first, then New York, to take advantage of the shorter trip, the shorter final leg. But if it doesn't work out that way, I mean, I'm used to flying back from San Francisco, so I'll just do that.
Yeah, on that note. So, I mean, Michael had talked about having a Thursday night watch party, which I think was a little bit humorous in the group. I think he didn't quite mean that at the time, but when I saw that, I thought, that's controversial. I don't think we'll get a 1 a.m. watch party in the UK, but we're joined in the chat by...
We both clicked show at the same time there, Paul.
That's cool.
Thank you, Frank.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. I mean, you say we don't have a 1 o'clock watch party, but when we get to the Super Bowl.
That is correct, man. I mean, I'll be honest. I did see, I think Kev Williams had put a message in Discord saying we can't have a watch party that late because After Dark takes priority. So, Kev, I'll let you fly in the flag for Discord. But the reason I put Frank's comment on there, I did see a few people want to know if we were running live until the schedule was officially official. And I said, given the fact that it's 8:20 already in the UK on the evening, we're not going to be live when the schedule drops, but we've got a few rumoured games already, Lee, haven't we, which are running across the bottom for those people who might be.
Yeah, good sources, I think, usually pretty on it.
Yeah, I think what we tend to find is every year we get the rumours coming out. I think the final rumours come in about 10 o'clock, 10:30, and there's a good 90% of those rumours tend to be correct. But you always get 1 or 2 games that aren't.
Yeah.
then it's switched round, that type of thing.
Right. So the only thing I'm really interested about the whole schedule thing, because we know who we're playing. It doesn't really matter when you play them, I guess, kind of. I know for the people going over. Yeah, no, for the people going
trying
over.
to sort my holiday out, man.
Yeah, right. For the people going over, it's obviously very important. But in a football way, without traveling aside, it doesn't really matter. The only thing that I'm interested in is when is our bye, because I don't like an early bye. I don't like a late bye.
Yeah.
I like a bye in the middle. Although
I don't think we'll get a bye in the middle, Najee. We've had one for the last 2 seasons, haven't we?
Yeah,
we've
we're
been
gonna
quite
have
lucky.
an early one or a late one, aren't we? We're due a bad bye, which
Yeah,
is
and I think
fine
because we've got
it
the
could be
easy
helpful.
schedule.
Yeah.
So they reckon, Najee, that we're due to start on the road weeks 1 and 2, like we did in 2021.
Not a bye on week
2023.
3. Week 3 bye would be bad.
Well, no. Week 3, apparently, we're playing the Cardinals at home, and we'll be debuting the new rivalry jerseys, which I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Now there's no London game. As soon as those jerseys drop, as long as they're not horrific, and I don't know what the barometer is about being horrific
it's
is.
50-50 on that. We can talk about it later. The only thing I wanted to talk about is that week 1 Seahawks. If that's true, I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, I don't like that. I think divisional games, you should at least wait until week 4.
Yeah, week 1 is too weird, isn't it?
No, I like starting the season with the divisional games. I think it adds a bit of interest, doesn't it? And
oh, it does, certainly, yeah, for sure. But yeah,
it'd have to be a prime time game, though, week 1. If we're playing Seattle at Seattle, that'd have to be prime time, surely. They wouldn't.
I mean, have you seen the team they have?
Well, haven't they already announced? Yeah, haven't they already announced prime time for the first weekend? Didn't they do that yesterday?
Well, no, when there's the opener, which is
Eagles Cowboys, and then there's then there's Chiefs Chargers on the Friday, I think, in Sao Paulo.
So it's all divisional on week 1,
which is divisional.
Crazy. So it's very possible that we play the Seahawks week 1. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. I just feel like week 1 is always kind of a very unknown entity. It's kind of weird in its own way. Teams aren't quite still ready, still figuring out. Weird things happen week 1.
That's it. It's high stakes because.
Yeah, and it's divisional.
Well, it is because if you win your division, then you go into the playoffs, and that's what you try and do first and foremost: win your division.
True.
And like Najee just said, it's week 1. Teams aren't up to speed. You can get some really weird results that don't reflect how good the team is come the end of the season, and you might get somebody really random winning their division purely by one game, the first game of the season.
But you could also argue the first game is the fairest because everybody should be healthy and everybody's had the same time of preparation. No one's just had a long East Coast journey on a Thursday night or something. Week 1 is the leveler. And it's all about how you prepared your team. So it's all about the coaches putting that team together.
I do think it's funny when they talk about easy schedule and then week 1, your biggest rival on the road. But, like you said, Najee, it's not the Seattle that we've seen. But Michael's dropped a couple of rumours in there, which might help with the bye week conundrum. So he's put week 4 at the Jags, week 7 at the Falcons, which could mean a week 6 bye week or a week 8. Looking at, from what I can see across the bottom.
I feel like we're going to be one of those teams that gets a week 13 bye or whatever it is, the latest one you can get. Is it week 13? I think it might be.
About that. It's between 4 and 12, certainly.
So, yeah, like the last one to have a bye.
And then we get the bye again when we get the number 1 seed.
That's
get that week off.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
It is May. I'm allowed to talk like that, Gareth. We were talking about it last week, so
as if you're going to stop talking like that for the next 30 weeks.
Yeah, right. That's right.
I'm going for my first bowl leave of the season.
Oh my God! Here we go.
Paul's going to be the first one that goes to dirty points.
Never happening.
You're going to go dirty points.
Well, when you go bold, you have to go
bold. That's my bold.
Yeah, that's bold. Impossible. Paul will never do that.
We talk about rabbit holes. I mean, that is a significant rabbit hole this early on. But
when you're talking about getting the number 1 bye, that's what brought that one up. It was a nice little segue, as Paul would say.
No.
I just feel I kind of it depends, Richard. I kind of like sometimes having an early buy, if something really is wrong with the team, having an early reset is quite nice.
Yeah.
Um,
That's it. I think
Was
an
it-
early
was it-
buy can be useful. If you're
Can
not
be
playing
useful.
well,
yeah,
an early buy is great.
that's it.
What I
Or
wanted,
if it buys you one more week for Ayuk to come back, or it's an extra week for any kind of injury that happens during training camp to solve itself. I don't know. We'll see.
so one thing I wanted to ask all of you chaps before we moved on is I've seen some people on social media not happy that the NFL are doing this drip feed of the schedule. There's a big push up to NFL schedule release day. They all do the social media, they do the hype.
It's all about ratings.
Well, I was just about to say, are you happy with it, or would you prefer them just to kind of release the fixtures all in one go and say, there you go, chaps, there's your fixtures?
That's what
I
they
don't
used
know,
to do.
I think I like this. I do. I know. It kind of prolongs the excitement, and it is exciting, isn't it? We're all waiting to find out who we play when.
Well, it depends on your interpretation of
relevant.
excitement, because when I told Tracy what tonight's show was, she didn't use the word excitement, Lee, but
Yeah, it had an ointment in it, but it wasn't
and
X.
Matt Cullen, I'm sorry that I used the word fixtures. It must be the UK side of me, but I like it. I think the Chargers social media team last year smashed it out the park. I think the Titans the year before did quite a funny reveal video, and obviously it leads me on to, once Najee and Gareth have answered if they like it, the bold new look that the Niners teased, because that could be part of the reveal video
So
of
is
our
this just
schedule.
a digital look?
I don't. We'll see, right?
No,
it's really
it's-
hard to see.
It
see what
seems
they're
to
gonna
be
do.
it's jerseys because they're looking at these rivalry games, like the
Well, I
colour
know they're
wash
looking
was
at a
tried to-
rivalry jersey, but I've just been on and had a look at the website, and it tells you about the refresh brand, and the way it reads, it's a digital rebrand.
Apparently, it applies to digital assets and the game experience only. However, they
Yeah.
are about to release some new uniforms, and we were talking off air about the black uniforms and the helmet. I think the logo could be quite significant on the helmet, because apparently they're
So
moving
this
away
might be a
from...
really good time to tell you, Paul, that the 49ers emailed me, and they've told me what that's going to look like.
Interesting.
Is
And
it
they've
that
also
helmet with
given me license to reveal that. Do you want to know what the new jersey is going to look like? It's going to be red and
go
white
on.
stripes.
Here we go.
You're going to really enjoy it. Red and white stripes.
Because of your previous form of getting messages from the 49ers, I was thinking he's onto something here. But, yes, Lee, you got the Sunderland reference in there. But apparently it's a digital asset and game experience only, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it reads. That's what it says.
Yeah, I
So-
don't understand what that means.
Well,
So it's just digital
it's
social
all-
media platforms. It's just rebranding. It's basically a digital brand. I don't think it's got anything to do with reading it. It definitely doesn't have anything to do with jerseys. But jerseys aside, there's going to be a rivalry jersey, which none of us know what it's going to look like. We're all quite excited about that because we're all wrung in the head and we'll part with our money as soon as that jersey comes out, as though it's going out of fashion. But yeah, it's nothing to do with the jersey, mate. It's all digital.
apparently, when I was reading, the focal point of the refreshed brand identity is the floating SF logo, which takes the interlocking SF that first appeared on the 49ers helmet in 1962, removes the black outline that was added in 1989, and extracts it from the oval. Now, Najee, me and you saw something about where they teased a new world or the reveal from the 49ers social media. You put two and two together and said that meant the Niners were going to Brazil. I teased they were going to Spain because we just had to wind everyone up.
Paul, is there any way we can kick Dan out the conversation here?
No.
You opened the soccer door. What can I say?
Yeah, he did.
That's,
Points
for Dan.
I've read the whole blurb about on the website, and it's very art design, graphic design, wording. It means nothing and everything at the same time. It's pretty interesting until it comes out. Well, it's very hard to guess what's happening. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a whole new I mean, it's going to be like a new logo. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what goes on the helmet, though.
It's
They're
going to be
talking about new
it's that
experience.
it's going to be the Uni Jack
Yeah.
one. That's it. They just
Yeah, that's what they're
having
going to use this
that.
one. So you know, we can speculate, but to be fair, I think this logo, this one, and that one, is probably one of the oldest still in the league to this day. I think everybody's gone to some kind of rebrand and rejig.
Oh well.
Yeah, we
If you
tried
think about it,
that.
I mean that logo was from the 90s.
Yeah, I know, but that's still 30 years, right? So they're trying to, you know, this expansion into international, and they're always
honest,
looking into bringing new people in. And
Yeah,
you know,
I'd
getting their
rather they
cash
go
flow.
back to the 80s logo.
Yeah,
Get rid of the gold oval that's separating the red and the black there.
Well,
And just
to
go
be
black and
honest,
red.
the
I prefer that one.
the float and SF logo, which is the focal point, they released 3 different versions of the new color palette of Montana Red, Gold Rush Gradient Heritage Cream, and Primetime Black. They are the exact words that I have been practicing to say. And like you said, Lee, maybe the flag, our own flag, will need refreshing because if the logo changes. And I know
Probably
we're at the
will.
stage of the NFL off-season, but the fact that they've kind of snuck this bold new look in, we know that there's new jerseys coming. As you said, Lee, we don't need any excuse to spend our money. I know everybody's eagerly awaiting.
So I've got to say, I think it looks far too much like the San Francisco Giants logo because of all the stuff they've removed.
It does.
And I think they should be kept distinctly separate. Because nobody's going to know whether or not you're a Giants fan, 49ers fan, both, neither. Don't know.
Well, we talk about rabbit holes on this show. Did you know that the oval that they're replacing it with will be something known as the Western Container? And it was influenced by the architecture on the West Coast and the original scoreboard at Kezar Stadium. Now, again, Gareth, you've joined us. You know, we have to do our homework on this show.
I'm impressed.
I think we are
I
off
am
the content.
Hey, what's it? History Corner. I'm starting early. There's my bold prediction. I might take over from
I mean, you might not be aware of this, Paul, but there was a rebranding where the Niners changed their helmets in what's it 93, 94, 95? And
Oh, yeah, that god-awful
literally it
helmet.
lasted about 2.5 days before they went, yeah, we're going to abandon that idea. They were awful. They were terrible. So you can look that up if you want a little bit.
No, I have seen that. I have seen that
yeah.
logo. Yeah, it was just because we're getting ready for the scheduled release, and they'd obviously tease these rivalry jerseys. And because I do spend a lot of time on social media, I was just interested to see the fact that they released all this information yesterday. I'll be honestly, first read through, I kind of was thinking, what does this really mean? Does it mean I have to go and buy a load of new gear? Does it mean they're getting rid of everything? But if it is just to refresh the brand on social media, the game day experience at Levi's, but it just seems a bit too coincidental that they're bringing in these new rivalry uniforms. And like I said, it looks like we'll be wearing ours week 3 at home against the Cardinals. So, you know, it'll be all very big, in my opinion, anyway. And Ty Alston, always good to see you, buddy. Breaking news, Ty will be joining us in the next coming few weeks. I reached out to him after last week's show, so we will get Ty on. He's always a good guest. And he might have an update for us, Lee, with a little project that you and him have been working on. Who knows?
Yeah, I forgot all about that. Yeah, could be. So going back to the jersey, it was rumoured that potentially we're going to go back to black. No, I think I mentioned on the last show, if we do go back to black, I really hope they do gold piping around the red letters and numbers. Because I think that look awesome, to be honest, the black uniforms.
You
The only
don't
thing
think
is...
you don't think white stripes would be good down the black uniform?
No, definitely not. Definitely. I know Andy Hudson would like that, but no.
No. So, to rescue us from this deep, deep rabbit hole, as I said at the start of the show, chaps, the 49ers have signed a quarterback to a new 4-year deal. Breaking news, exciting times. What do you reckon, Gareth?
Can't wait to see him on the those preseason games.
I mean, you say that, but I'm looking forward to seeing him play. You never
Yeah,
know,
me
right?
too.
You really actually never know what could happen.
If he's able to, isn't he injured?
Well,
Is
I
it-
was
yeah.
I was going to tease
Was he?
Gareth. It was a quarterback taken in the 7th round by the 49ers as well. Obviously, I was going to go deep into
Sorry,
this
we
kind of
ruined it
winding
for you.
everybody up. However, it is Curtis Rourke chosen in the 7th round by the Niners. He signed a 4-year deal. Now, a lot of people seem to get hung up on these deals that have been announced as 3 years, 4 years, but apparently it's standard for the rookies under the CBA agreement. But I think you were shocked to hear, Gareth, that we're paying him $4.3 million. The same
I
as what
was.
Brock
That's a
Purdy
lot
got.
of money. That's
Imagine
more money
me
than
shocked.
Brock. Yeah, that's more money than Brock got. So, but if it's the going rate, who knows, right? It could just be better than Brock. It's possible.
Now
Oh,
that is
magic.
bold. That
Yeah.
is bold.
Well, what if he is? What if he's actually better than Brock? Like it's totally
Yeah.
possible.
Well,
Like,
You're right.
I'm not.
Very
If he's
plausible.
better, then good for him. But yeah, he's got a torn ACL he had to deal with, or
Oh, actually,
maybe not
that's right. Yeah,
torn,
'cause
but
he played his
he
last
played
season
on
with
it.
the torn. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so
a knee
not
brace.
completely torn, but it's slight torn in
Yeah,
his ACL,
partial tear.
Partial tear. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But he played the whole season with, so yeah, I think he's had surgery or he was managing it. I can't remember, but yeah, I think he'll be ready for training camp. He better be $4 million.
mm.
I mean, Paul's missed the big news, though. That we've signed Stone Blanton
Mm.
Yes.
to a big deal. That's the big news.
Well,
Yeah.
that's your
So,
player watch. I didn't want to spoil it. That's all.
Yeah, yeah.
After you
He's
talked
going to be
about
a
it last
sleeper.
week, yeah, I went and watched some of his highlights, and
Yeah, he's unbelievable, isn't he?
he's really good.
Yeah, you look at him thinking,
Really?
how the hell did he get to
Yeah.
be an undrafted free agent?
Do
Why
you
didn't
know
somebody
who he-
draft him?
Do you know who he reminds me of? And obviously that's in the look, and it's a player that didn't really pan out, but almost did for a while. Go on, quick quiz for everyone. Can anybody
Who did the
figure
player
it out?
play for?
For us?
For us.
Yeah.
Didn't pan out very well.
No, not well at all. But it
So
was
he was
very
no
promising.
good.
It was very good.
promising.
It
Chris
was very
Bolland.
good. That's right, Chris Bolland indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris Bolland.
Yeah,
indeed.
I actually thought he looked like a smaller version of Brian Urlacher.
Yeah, in a way, good kind of new age Brian Urlacher,
Yeah.
because that's all timey. But yeah, no, I'm very impressed. I'm really surprised he didn't get drafted.
Mm.
Yeah.
Interesting. There must be something, but as I said, some people might be very uncomfortable with interviews and don't come across really well one-on-one, or one versus how many people they're interviewing. It must be daunting. It's difficult, maybe it doesn't test very well on paper, on academics or stuff like that, and doesn't show. But he's a damn good football player, that's for sure.
So you mentioned roster moves. We also waived a safety, Quindell Johnson, to sign cornerback Derek Canteen. Again, another 3-year deal. I'll be honest, chaps, I don't know much about him, but I was just preparing for tonight's show.
Yeah.
What do you reckon of that move, Nadji? Is he someone that you watched in college, or is it just kind of a camp body? You think?
Yeah, I have no idea what all these moves are for and why, and no idea. It's too early.
Well,
We might never
there's
talk about this guy.
there's a cornerback space to be won, so I think
There is.
it seems sensible to bring a load of guys in and have a pretty open competition and see where guys get to.
So
Come
Michael
End
is
of April.
yeah, no,
August.
that makes sense. So Michael Hall's joined us, and he's put that Wayne Breezy has tweeted Rams week 10, Seahawks week 18.
Mhm. Always seems to be divisional at the
I
end.
mean,
I like that.
Yeah, that'd be good. Seahawks week 18 would be good for sure.
And Gareth, mentioning Seahawks, I got your first game right.
Why? Why am I associated with the Seahawks?
No. I was thinking when me
Leave,
and
you've
Lee
done
were
no-
talking.
done me like that.
No, when me and Lee were talking the other week, and I mentioned your first game, and we were discussing between it, and I
Well
was
done,
sure
thank you.
your first game
yeah.
was the Raiders with the one-handed
Mhm.
catch, and
Yep.
you listened into the show, obviously, Gareth, even though you're
I did.
aware, and you commented that I listen. I do listen sometimes, chaps, so I did get that one right.
You did.
Sorry, I've gone
What
down
was
the rabbit
so? What was the link to Seahawks? I
No,
lost
it
that.
wasn't. I got myself confused there, Gareth.
Good.
It's easily
So,
done.
so looking at this, I think week 8, so the week before the Giants, is going to be a road game.
So back to back,
which really
East
screws
Coast,
up my
maybe.
plans.
Yeah, it'll be that stretch of the season where we go
Yeah.
east for a couple of weeks in a row, and we inevitably lose one of those games because that's what we've been
Well,
doing
if
for
you
the
have a
past
look at
5 years.
the games leading up to that, so week 7 we were at home,
Yeah,
and then weeks 10, it's week 12 we were.
so
it
we'll
could
be
go either
away
way, actually.
week 8 and 9 then maybe.
Well,
Potentially.
if we're starting with back to back away games, which again, which I
possible.
kind of like. I think it's better having
Yeah.
your home games stacked towards the back end of the season. So
Yeah, agree.
Yeah, definitely when it's cooler.
So we
And we all know it gets cool.
So-
yeah.
Paul Scrimshaw is joining us from Canada. He dropped a cheeky rumour that there could be a watch party in Calgary this year. I don't know what
I'm
his
up
source
for it.
is
I'm up
or
for it.
how
He
true it
also-
is. But
He also said he would pay for all of our flights, so I'm up for it.
sweet.
Thanks, Paul. Very kind.
it's good of him to join. And Richie has put that he's hoping it's the Browns and then the Giants. So obviously, this time next week, we will know what the schedule is. We'll know when we're playing everybody. So I don't know about you, chaps, but maybe we do a ridiculously early win-loss kind of look at the schedule next
yeah.
week.
Yeah. That's
Always
fine.
good for a bit
for
of
sure.
fun.
That's going
Well,
to
I can tell you mine now.
I was
Win,
going to
win,
say we
win,
can
win,
do
win.
it now. Really.
John's asking a very good question. I mean,
Well, Najee nearly picked his last week, Gareth, but I pointed out that you weren't here, and he played fair. He did say we'd wait for you.
No,
so
I think
maybe
if you well, they weren't necessarily always a rookie. It was your guy to watch, wasn't it? So sometimes
it's a player watch.
That's
it's
right,
not,
yeah.
not
it's a player watch.
necessarily
It doesn't
rookie,
necessarily have to be the rookie. But if
Yeah, because you had Demo last year, didn't you? So,
yeah, and if you want to know, I had Ronaldo Green, who was a rookie. I did think I had
that's right.
Demo the year before in his
Year
second
before.
or possibly even his third year. I think if you're going to stick your neck out and lock in that player, then do it, because that's you get him early, you get the most choice, but you're also picking him early. But we may let you sub it out if he ends up getting cut.
if I remember rightly, we used to do a rookie. And then I think what happened was some of the rookies didn't play. So what we did is we had a rookie and we had a second choice.
You couldn't tell. Yeah.
That'll have been the 22 draft class.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ronnie Bell and
yeah. So what did your player do? Well, he just stayed on the bench the whole day.
Yeah.
Well-
I'd like to see the guys. I'd like to see the guys in the preseason game, perhaps before.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, because there's that, right?
Sticking my neck out. But if you're ready to pick your guy now, Najee, I respect
We
that.
could do preseason
Full
watch player,
hardiness.
and then from week 1 when we know who the starters or who's on the team or who's playing, kind of thing. I mean, I was gonna go and be cheeky and take one on offense, one on defense, but
Well, we could
know.
always do that because
Just
it does.
two. Because this
Just two,
time
I
last
mean,
year you took about 12, I think.
that's right. I had
I
the
think-
entire DB room, so
I was just about to say it was the entire DB room.
and all the DBs. So
This year might be and last year they're a bit different in the fact that there's probably a good chance that some of the guys we pick are going to take meaningful snaps,
yeah.
and that
Yeah,
wasn't
especially on the
happening in
D-line.
sort of 22, 23. So I think there's perhaps more scope to pick an offensive and a defensive player because they're probably going to have some guys playing. So
I'm
You're
doing
not
it.
thinking
I'm
this
doing it.
through very well, are you? I mean, our show lasts for an hour as it is, when we're only doing one player each.
yeah,
Right.
well, actually,
But,
you're true.
More
But then-
content means more watch hours.
Yeah.
So.
Is there a camp battle any of you guys are particularly looking forward to? Some of the stuff I've read, I'm quite interested. Wide receiver, I think Ayuk might not obviously be there for week 1. We've got Jennings and
No.
Purcell, but other than that,
True.
Ty's stuck his neck out. So any other camp battles you're looking forward to?
Yes, absolutely, and that's my defensive player. That's why I wanted to pick him. I'm gonna pick my players now, and if you guys are not happy about it, I don't care.
No, go for it.
And, I'm picking Nick Martin because that's one camp battle. Him and D Winters, I think,
Because
it's gonna be
because
really
you love
interesting.
special teams, that's why you're picking.
And I'd
it,
love,
right?
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that'll be the camp battle for linebacker number 3 because linebacker number 2 is going to be Stone Blanton.
There we go. And there's that angle too, yeah. So basically the linebacker battle is going to be very interesting. But I'm picking Nick Martin because I think he'll play, and I think I'm interested in his development. And my offensive player, big shocker, is Jordan James, of course. RB1. So yeah, that's who I'll be following.
Lock 'em in. Lock 'em in.
It's locked in. Those are my two players.
You know what? I wouldn't generally look forward to the day that a 49er player had a bad game. But if Jordan James has a bad game, I really hope that Najee turns around and says, well, it's typical of a crap school like Oregon. Bring the quarterback in from there.
I'm not going to lie. I thought Najee was going to say, I don't care he's being drafted by the Giants. I'm watching Cam Scatterbo and you're going to get an update every week. That's where I thought you were going.
I can't do that. That still hurts. I can't do that. Still can't.
I don't know, Gareth. I don't know if I want to.
Don't do it now.
I got lumbered with Ronnie Bell, and look what happened there. So I'm a little bit tired.
You picked Ronnie Bell.
I don't think I did. I think it was just given to me, but it'll be haunted by whoever's wearing number 10.
Hang on. You picked Ronnie Bell because that was the only name you could pronounce. Bell.
And I think you already had a number 10 shirt.
After a couple of attempts saying Beal.
I mean, to be fairly, that word probably is used a lot on this show. So yeah, you're probably right there, buddy.
Touche.
So if you guys were to go to any game, which one would you go to? If you could just choose any game on the schedule. I know we don't have that many yet, but any that have been announced.
I'm stuck between two of them. I'm stuck between the Giants and the Saints.
Mine would be the
New
Saints.
Orleans or New York.
Yeah. I want to go.
Mine would be the Saints. I think in terms of stadium and city, I'd like to visit.
City, yeah.
Probably New Orleans would be there. I've never been, so.
No, it's a good question. Somebody asked on social media.
I've never been to Cleveland. I've never been to any other places. So,
I say, Gareth, a few people asked on social media, is it always like San Francisco we go to, or would you be interested in a road game? And I know a few went out to Tampa Bay last year, and that looked absolutely unreal. I would like to do a road game to do the 49ers Rush road trip with John Chapman, because they look unreal. And the New York I keep coming back to that one, that I could kind of sell that to the family. Let's go to New York. Yep, you all go shopping. Oh, there's a game on. Oh, John Chapman's here. So how did that happen? But a home game, I would like to see Seattle. I'd like to see the 49ers versus Seattle at home. Personally, that'd be the two games I would choose.
Fair.
And Kev's come up with a suggestion there. So,
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. I like this.
We'll save that for when the season starts.
Yeah, I've been to Tampa. It's a good stadium. I've been to Jacksonville. It's okay. The pool thing is weird, but they do have the cool thing in Jacksonville is you can take your dog and they have a place for your dog. They look after your dog during the game, and then it's probably not free, but that's pretty cool. I thought that was pretty cool. In the shade as well.
I think going to Levi South would be quite an experience as well.
SoFi would be pretty cool. I don't know if I would. I'd go to watch the Chargers, not the Rams.
I think it'd be good being in there when we play in the Rams and we beat them and we take over Levi South.
Oh, as in, I was thinking Rams versus anybody but us.
But as far as
just happened to be in LA.
Yeah, as far as a holiday destination is concerned, from what both Steve and Ben said about LA last year, it's not a great place.
Nah.
And it takes ages to get anywhere in LA between the different touristy sites because they're that far apart. And the stadium is out in the middle of nowhere in quite a rough area.
Yeah. What was it that John Lennon said? You just stop off in LA for a donut on your way to San Francisco. Or there's some famous quote out there that I'm sure Martin Hughes will be looking for now as he's in the chat. I mean, Richie, that game is one that we all love. And the fact that you were there actually in person must have been absolutely crazy.
I am still constantly amazed that I remember that game, considering how much we drank that night.
Yeah. Gutted I wasn't in Edinburgh for that. But
Neil Watson definitely didn't remember it, and Mrs. Watson definitely didn't forgive any of us who were in the bar that night. I know that much.
Neil Watson remembers the state he was in the day after. Not the night.
The Saints game would be a good one. But no, I think that's a good question. I think we are hoping that a few of the group members will be going out. I've seen some of the chat on the group. I know Matthew Johnson's looking to get to a couple of games. I've seen other people on the threads over the last couple of days looking to head out there. So if you are heading out, obviously this is the time where I tell you to tag the group, social media posts. We want to see all the UK faithful there. And who knows, we might be able to hook you up with, some of the US friends who look after you. So I know Martin met up with Red Jet Shell last year. I know John Chapman, Wayne Breezy have always said that if you're out there, drop them a message and obviously they'll meet up. And you've got to take a flag. And if you don't have a flag, there's a handy guide on our Facebook page, isn't there, Lee, and how you can order your own.
Yeah, it's very good. I would wait a minute just in case that logo changed.
You know what? If they did change the logo, it would make it really easy to get that flag done now from a UK site. Because obviously the copyright...
but that does bring us
the copyright still exists, but it might be easier.
Yeah. That does bring us into a good segue about the watch parties that we do here, because we're going to talk about this. That's what this whole schedule is about. So for everybody that's watching, I think most of you already know, but we don't control where the official watch party is going. No, when is it? We will get told probably a week before, maybe 2 weeks if we're lucky, despite us telling them that we need way more notice so people can actually make arrangements. So don't bombard us with questions and asking where it is and how much it is and all that. We don't know until the Niners officially release it, and you'll basically know roughly the same terms as we do. So, hopefully we'll know long enough in advance so you guys can plan and book time off and all that kind of stuff. Well, you had to go there, didn't you?
You know what? I'm absolutely convinced this year is going to be 2 watch parties, 2 regular season watch parties. I just think it's too much of an opportunity to miss when we've got so many opportunities for a 6 o'clock game.
Yeah, that'll be good. I'm looking forward to it. We've talked about it, but we will probably do a 49ers Faithful UK meetup before the watch party, so we can all get together and chat when the game's not on, because when the game's on we're all watching and we can't really socialize. It's a bit more difficult to socialize with everyone anyway. You can usually have a chat with a couple of people and watch a game, but we'll probably do that, and then obviously the most important thing is all the mini watch parties are happening everywhere all the time. Just put it on the group, put it on Facebook, put it on Discord, wherever, saying I'm going to go here and watch a game. Anybody wants to? Okay. That would be good, Alex.
To be fair, at this point, Nadji, Georgina, who's based in Manchester, she had a good relationship with the Brotherhood. And I know the mini meetups that we called them last year, like you've just said there, if you can't make the official watch party, we don't know whereabouts in the UK it's going to be, but you'll never select a location that pleases everybody. And I found that out today with everybody dropping their dream choices in the chat. And to be fair, we had a new member join today at the wrong time, because I dropped in Discord that it was going to be in the Northeast. It was going to be where I'm based. And the people chat was like, is it really going to be there? And we were like, no, we're just messing. It's just, if everybody had their choice, they're obviously going to select a location that's local to them. But Nadji is right, Kev. We honestly don't know. But we do want to see as many gatherings of red and gold as possible, and tag us on social media. But don't DM us. Ask them when they're going to be, because we don't know.
Oh, no, Wakefield.
So Neil's getting himself excited. W for Wakefield.
Oh, because
we'll have it at the Stone Lee.
Yes.
If it's still standing, that is. I don't know if that's been knocked down yet. That's the only place I know in Wakefield, because I stayed there. Oh, God, how long ago? Too long. So long, I can't remember. It must be about 23, 24 years ago.
So do you know when we prepare for this game, Nadji? I think this question might come up quite a lot when we play the Texans. Your nemesis, Jimmy Watt.
I'm not worried about it. He'll be on the bench.
Could you imagine if he gets picked six against us?
Is he
Nadji
still
will just
playing?
go off it.
I don't think. Do you know what? I don't even think he'll make the team this year.
Yeah, I thought he'd got released from.
Yeah,
Texans,
he didn't play. He didn't play the last 6 games.
Did he?
I think. Yeah, he got hurt like 3 or 4 times, and then he didn't play at all.
It was your words that hurt him, Nadji. You should be ashamed.
Well,
that's bullying.
He should have chose a different job. He's not very good at this one.
However, changing the subject, I know the Hickories brand last year were very good at hosting local watch parties, and I believe there's one in York, there's one opening in Thornaby. I know me and Lee tended to stick to the casinos when we did the mini meet in the northeast, but the 6 o'clock games obviously open up more mini watch parties. But again, you know, the 9 o'clock games aren't totally off limits. The 1 a.m. ones tend to be the ones we struggle with. But as you said, Nadji, this time of year now, we're excited. Schedule release is coming out tonight. Obviously, we should have an idea.
I agrees. Put Ty's comments on the screen. Okay. He knows football.
So we are reaching that time in the show where we start to wrap up, but it doesn't mean we
just run out of steam.
You know, so was there anything you wanted to talk about in particular, Gareth? I'll come to you first because you weren't here last week. You were missed, so I'll come over to you and see if there's any.
Maybe. Well, we'll go through the schedule release. We haven't really talked about it, and it's not a huge thing. But I was just interested in whether you feel that the league is going to ban the tush push or not. But maybe that's something we can talk about because I think there's been some interesting conversations about it. Yeah.
It has been interesting. I know somebody's put it forward as a rule change. If it does, it won't be this year. It's too late. So we'll see how this year goes. No, I think the Bengals.
The Packers wanted to ban it. The Packers wanted to ban it.
I don't know. I'm kind of in two minds about it. In one hand, I understand that they've mastered it and they're really good at it. So why should you take it away from them? Because everybody should be able to do it.
I think it's more to do with player safety.
But if they ban it, that's why they will ban it.
Yeah, I think it increases the risk of injury.
Even though no one's ever been injured on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm in two minds. I do feel like it's a bit of it's not very fun. So
that's where my quandary on it, I suppose, is there that going for it on fourth down, a play that encourages people to go on fourth down should be exciting. The league should like that. Yeah. But on the other hand, if it continues to have such a high success rate because defensive coordinators haven't got any tools to defend against it, we're going to see the game begin to grind, where we're not going to see teams go for it on 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 6 and go for the pass. They're going to just start playing numbers and say, well, let's see if we can get 2 or 3 yards and then 2 or 3 yards. And I think it could be self-defeating. It's like, let's go for it. It's going to be exciting. 4th and short, everyone loves that. It's a big play. But it's going to ultimately be self-defeating because I think player safety is a reason, but ultimately the NFL will go on what's most entertaining. Does this lead to points? Does this lead to excitement? Does this lead to people getting engaged and talking about the game? And at the moment, the tush push does. So
yeah, it does. That's true.
Yeah, that's good, Kev. Yeah, we need to. I should shut up now. So.
No, I'm just putting that on there.
It's a good question, though, and I'm sure we'll talk about it.
Because it does. Because if they keep it going,
I agree with Ty.
Every time, I agree with that as well. But so's every quarterback sneak.
And Paul Scrimshaw's answered your question there. He thinks it should be banned. Defense can't without committing a penalty. Chris Jones was nearly injured. Ty Alston there. It's a head neck injury waiting to happen. And I suppose I'm not the world's greatest rugby fan, but didn't they make changes to the scrum because of this? And as you said, just because somebody's not been injured yet, I'm just...
It's a very different game, obviously, rugby and the scrum. But yeah, they have changed the way scrums are run now because of player safety. So there is definitely an angle where the NFL could go. But I think ultimately they'll choose the angle. But it's because
it would be sad if they waited to the point where somebody was injured seriously to do it.
True.
Because
but
they've got the opportunity now to make sure that never happens.
And as Martin's put there, obviously we said we were wrapping up, but there's 20 minutes left to go. Before I hand over to you, Lee, I just wanted to say a couple of things. So first of all, Red Jet Shell, big supporter of ours. It was her birthday yesterday.
Hey.
Oh, happy birthday from the UK Faithful. And it's not the only birthday shout out. Friend of the show, Frank Gore, is 42 today.
Wow.
So yes, I have taken the opportunity to share many a photo of Frank at the watch party. has led to questions, Lee, on who could be joining us at this year's watch party. I think there's a certain 52 seems to be getting bandied about for I don't know what other reason.
Yeah, whether or not he comes over, I don't know. I think it'll be somebody who isn't in the Hall of Fame. But to be honest, I mean, there's so many good people that can come across. I tell you who I'd like it to be, John Taylor. I would love it to be John Taylor.
Nice.
Or even Eric Wright. I mean, Eric Wright, he's got some great stories.
Yeah.
Either one of those. Even Mike Wilson, to be honest.
You met Keena Turner, wasn't it?
I've met Keena Turner, John Taylor, and Eric Wright. And I've spoken to Mike Wilson on a Zoom call.
It's only a matter of time Jerry Rice shows up, right? It's only a matter.
I mean, this could be the year they send a couple of people over. Who knows?
Jerry Rice is the dream.
Yeah,
Jerry Rice is the dream, but I just can't see him coming over to the UK. That would be a big cost.
Cool too,
yeah. Yeah, because remember, the 49ers actually have to pay for these people to come across.
Yeah.
I know, but we can dream, can't we, chaps?
Ronnie Lott would be on top of my list, I think.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Anything else, chaps, that you want have a burning desire to talk about?
I mean, I think we should keep on talking until the full schedule's released. If I'm being honest.
There we go. Back to the tush push.
What is it? In an hour? Is it 2 hours?
Oh, to be honest,
no, I think it's early hours of tomorrow morning, isn't it? It's about tomorrow morning.
Right, yeah, we're not doing that.
But you generally have the full schedule, pretty much 90% of the full schedule leaked by about 10:30. So in the next hour and a half, 90 minutes.
However, normally what happens is we wrap up the pod and then the breaking news happens. So surely we're just jinxing ourselves by keeping on talking. However, we are saying that we will be back next week. I don't know whether it'll be with a live and a pod, or whether it'll be just a pod or just a live. We just like to keep you guessing. On that note, please do like, subscribe, turn on the notifications. And it's this time, Gareth, where I say, tell your friends about us. And I say lots of nice things. And then Lee comes in and insults the crowd by telling them they've got no friends because they sat watching us. I mean, that went down really well last week, Lee.
And our numbers have doubled.
Yeah.
You only need other Niners as friends.
It's like the Lonely Hearts Club. John
and
Lennon
I
would be
can
so
just
proud.
clarify that Nadji didn't get any abusive messages for congratulating Liverpool, but my friend at work who was a bit worried. But if you are watching the show back, please do leave a comment, as it really does help with the algorithm, chaps. I've had a blast as always. Thank you for joining me. And as I say this time, every week, trust the process and go Niners.
Go Niners.
Bang, bang, Niner gang.
We love the San Francisco 49ers deep in our heart. Like Joe Montana in the corner, D. Clark. Garrison Hurst, stiff farm going 99. Don't get